All around there were dense forests, snow-covered mountains, wild animals, and small human groups. This is a story from 40,000 years ago. This is a story of Europe when Europe was not a country. There was no king, there were no cities, there were no roads. When Europe was just a forest. For thousands of years, the people of Europe hunted. They hunted mammoths, deer, and wild animals. When the ice melted, people realized that if seeds were sown in the ground, food could be grown from them, and farming also began from here. People changed, villages changed, animal husbandry started, and the first step of European civilization had begun. This great civilization that rose from the sea around 3000 BC, in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, there was an island whose name was Crete. Here was born the first major European civilization, which today we call the Minoan civilization. They had ships, they traded with Egypt and the Middle East. They built magnificent palaces, promoted art, but suddenly nature changed everything. A volcano erupted and everything was destroyed. Almost all of Europe had been finished, but its end had still not happened. After this, everything continued like this, and by around 800 BC, Greece rose. Greece gave Europe many things. What we today call Greece had small states such as Athens, Sparta, Corinth, and Thebes. They used to fight among themselves, but they also competed with each other. It was they who refined the civilization even more because they looked at themselves and asked who we are and where we came from. And from this very civilization was born Socrates. Socrates' student became Plato, Plato's student became Aristotle, and Aristotle's student became a young boy whom perhaps no one would know. Everyone knows him, Alexander. That Alexander who at one time ruled the whole world. This is the story of 336 BC. 20-year-old Alexander becomes king. Today we know him by the name Alexander the Great. He thought that there is a world beyond Greece too, so why not rule that world as well? He set out. He built empires, conquered empires, Egypt, Persia, Central Asia, Afghanistan, all the way to India. For the first time, he spread European culture throughout the world. But he could not last for very long because he died at only 32 years of age. His dream of making Europe the center of the world ended right there. But it ended only for him. After that, the Roman Empire rose, which once again united Europe. As Greece began to weaken, a small city in Italy was becoming powerful. His name was Rome. I have already made a complete detailed video on Rome before. If you want complete information about Rome, you can watch that Rome video of mine. In the beginning, it was an ordinary city. But Rome had one special thing: they never accepted defeat. They did lose, but they never lost in spirit. They never gave up. After losing, they had the passion to fight again. They conquered Italy, conquered Spain, conquered France, conquered Britain, conquered Greece, then North Africa, then the Middle East. Within just a few centuries, Rome became the largest empire in the world. When Rome was at its peak, it expanded trade, made laws, built cities, dramas were performed, science advanced. People thought that Rome would never fall. But whoever is born must one day die as well. No empire in history has ever become immortal. During the Roman Empire, a new religion began to spread: Christianity. In the beginning, some people opposed it, but this religion gradually kept spreading. Christians were also punished, but even then this religion did not stop. For the next 1,000 years, this religion began to settle in the soul of Europe. But as I said, till today no civilization and no empire that has risen has escaped its end. After 400 AD, conditions began to change. From the north, Germanic tribes began to arrive: Goths, Vandals, Franks, Huns. Rome began to face continuous attacks, and Rome could not withstand these attacks. And in 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire came to an end. Europe's greatest empire had fallen, and the Age of Darkness began. Look, whenever something comes to an end, everything breaks apart, everything gets scattered. People start fighting each other, and the same thing happened with Rome as well. After the fall of Rome, Europe had completely broken apart. Small sectors and small kingdoms began to emerge. Knowledge kept decreasing, roads began to break down, trade started declining. But one institution remained: the church. The church preserved education, religion, and society. This is the reason Europe did not completely disappear. But by around 800 AD, ships began to sail from the icy countries of the north. On those ships were the Vikings. They attacked suddenly, looted villages, took treasure, and killed people. The people of Europe had a very deep fear of them. But later, those same Vikings began settling in many parts of Europe and also became part of new cultures. By 1095 AD, the Pope called upon the Christians of Europe, fight to reclaim the Holy Land. After this, the Crusades began. Wars continued for nearly 200 years. Millions of people died, but one major change happened. Europe's contact with the advanced civilizations of the Middle East began to increase, through which science, mathematics, and knowledge started reaching Europe. As this continued, Europe once again got a chance for a renaissance. After 1300, a new way of thinking emerged in the cities of Italy. People said that not only religion is important, but humans are important too. From here, the Renaissance began. Painters came, scientists came, philosophers came, and brilliant people like Leonardo da Vinci also began to be born. Europe woke up again, started moving again, and the people of Europe once again had hope. From across the sea, Europe also wanted wealth, spices, gold, and trade. Therefore, sailors set out into the oceans. In 1492, Columbus reached America, and in 1498, Vasco da Gama reached India. Now Europe was no longer just Europe. It began spreading throughout the world. They conquered the world. Between 1600 and 1900, Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, and England took control of large parts of the world. Africa, Asia, America, Australia, Europe became a global power for the first time. After this came the Industrial Revolution. They had already conquered much of the world. Now they had everything. Using this, they built factories, railways began to run, steam engines were built, production increased, cities grew, and Europe became richer. But this wealth created a new problem: competition. Because of this, the First World War began. In 1914, the powerful countries of Europe started fighting against one another. For 4 years, blood continued to flow. Millions of soldiers died. Europe both won and lost because the entire continent had been shattered. In the same way, conflicts continued, and after one war came another war. The Second World War began again in 1939. This war was even more destructive than the first one. Hitler played a major role in it, as all of you know. This war lasted from 1939 to 1945. During this period, many countries had already become independent from Europe, and some had become independent even before this, such as America and others. But the wars taught Europe that if they kept fighting, they would be destroyed. Therefore, they began cooperation. They opened borders, increased trade, and eventually the European Union was formed. Now former enemies had become friends. The Europe that you know today was not built just like that. Today it is counted among the developed regions of the world. But its story is not only a story of success. It is a story of icy caves, scientists, Greek ideas, Viking raiders, religion, reconstruction, and European civilization. The special thing about European civilization was that it fell many times, but it stood up again, could never be erased. Somehow or another, it always survived. That is why it continues to influence politics, science, culture, and history, and it plays an important role in our world. The countries that conquered the entire world and made much of the world their colonies. This civilization tells that story. How did you like my video? Be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. More videos like this will continue to come for you. Thanks for watching.